Hi, my name is Emily, and this is the Delight Knits podcast, episode 24. Today is Saturday, February 4th of 2023, and this is my podcast where I like to talk about all that I have knit on, and it has been about 2 weeks since I've podcasted last. Let's see. You can find me on Instagram as Delight_knits, Ravelry as Delight Knits, and I've got an email, all of which will be linked below. And I will also have everything that I talk about written out in the description box below, so that's easy for you to find. Today I've got a couple finished objects plus a few whips. There is one new cast on, technically two new cast ons, but one of them is a finished object, and I talked about it last time to share with you today. But we can start with what I'm wearing is a shawl. I love this. This is my 2021 West Knits MCal. This is Shawlography, out of some yarn that I dyed myself. And that is that. So I love this. It is 100% superwashi yarn, and it is so soft. It is one of my favorite, most worn shawls, besides my newest shawl, which is the Fiber Fox Advent Find Your Fade. That one's gotten a lot more wear here recently, just because it's newer. So that's that. I guess we'll start with finished objects. So these were a whip last time, and they were almost done. These are I called them my January scrappy socks. So it was my pair number 2 for 2023. My first pair was out of the Barocco Comfort Sock, which I showed off last time. And then I was finished with one of these, and I literally had just started the purple on the second one. So I knit my socks on a US 02mm 9-inch circular, cast on 64 stitches in a 2x2 rib, knit for usually about 50 rows, and then do a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, and then knit to about 65, 70-ish rows, and then I think it's a square toe. I don't know. These toes turned out funky just because I knit too long and I didn't want to rip it out, so I just Kitchenered at like 20 stitches. So they're very square, but they still fit fine, so you can kind of see how I'm playing with it. Let's see, if I take one off you'll be able to see it. See, that's a very wide toe. But so what I do for these, they are completely scrappy. I used up every last bit of the first 4 colors. I still have some left of the hedgehog fibers. But I take the leftover that I've got, my hair's a mess, per usual, and I split it in half. Or if it's in a cake and I can knit from both ends, I will knit both at the same time and like knit 5 rows on this one, 5 rows on this one, until they're literally attached like this, and then I just cut it in the middle. Or if it's in a ball, I will weigh it out and like cut it in half, or have 2 little balls, split it in half. So easy enough. I went over the colors last time, but most of this sock is Mace of Skeins. This is Fairy Dust. This is Ocean. This is Wonderluck Fibers. Oh, there's a chicken running outside. Wonderluck Fibers in her lilac rainbow tweed. This is Mace of Skeins Ocean Darker that she custom dyed for me. And then Hedgehog Fibers Birthday Cake. So these are all done. I literally knit till it was gone. I did the weave and Steven for all the ends. And yeah. So pair number 2 of socks done for the year. I also started and finished in the last 2 weeks my Musselburgh, or Musselburgh, however is correct. This is yarn that I dyed myself on Martin Luther King Day. Was it? Or President's Day? I think it was MLK Day. It did pool a little bit, so you can see a little bit of the striping there, but it's honestly not that noticeable. There. I mean, it is, but it isn't. For the person that it's for, he won't notice. But I dyed it to be a camo yarn, and I think it turned out really great. I hope he will enjoy it, and if not, somebody in his family might, or I will. I still have one more skein of yarn, because I dyed 2 skeins of yarn at the same time, just in case the pooling was really bad that I didn't like it. I could alternate skeins. So let me go grab that real quick. And yes, I'm still in my pajamas. So this is that skein, and this is the part that pooled. But yeah, I think it turned out really great, and when I posted on Instagram, a lot of people like it. So where did I? There it is. So I knit until, I did all the increase per pattern, and then I knit until I had about 10, maybe 12 grams left, and then decreased. And I have 3 grams left. So that turned out great. Let's put it on so you can see the slouch. It's got quite a bit of slouch, or you can pull it tight. And golly, my hair's a mess. Have a pretty good brim, which I've got a smaller head, but that's a pretty decent brim. I think I did the adult medium. But yeah, I think it turned out great, and I am going to wash it as soon as this is done, or I'm done podcasting. Hopefully it is dry so I can gift it tomorrow. But I need to also take a picture. But I love it. This is my 7th Musselburgh. You think I love this pattern? Yeah, I need to knit my brother one. I think he would enjoy it, but I don't know if he would like this color. I may have to dye him up a different color. But yeah, so this is my last finished object for the 2 weeks, and I think it turned out fantastic. So that is done. I'll get that washed and blocked today. I've made quite a bit of progress on this other whip. This keeps falling. So I have been working on my long summer cardigan by Locatelli. After the podcast I last podcasted a couple weeks ago, I had compared it to the sweater that I was wearing in that podcast, which is my Like a Cloud cardigan, and I realized how close I was to finishing it, and so I kind of jumped on it to hopefully finish it. I've got yarn everywhere with this, but so here it is. I think I've finished one sleeve. So I was in this twisted robe section last time, and I've knit down. This is where I've ended with the cuff. I can't decide if I want to rip out the cuff and do 2 stripes like this, or just leave it. But I have it on some kind of like barber cords. They're not. I bought it off Amazon. So I can block it and see how it goes. So it's still connected to the ball. These are marking all my decreases. And there was one night this week I was knitting on it. Not last night, but the night before. And I might see if I can pop the video in here that I posted in my Instagram stories. I saw a mistake as I was knitting on the second sleeve, which I have started here. So I picked up and knit the short rows and the second sleeve, and this should hopefully go by fairly fast. But I found a problem on the first sleeve as I was knitting the second sleeve, and this was just laying there. Can you see it? Right here, there's only one blue stripe, and there's supposed to be two. I am not ripping that out. It is going to be a feature because it's a hand knit sweater, and that's just what happens when you hand knit a sweater. There are going to be mistakes, and you have to make that decision on whether you're going to rip it out and fix it or just leave it. And I'm not ripping out that much of a sleeve. That's a lot. So somebody on Instagram had mentioned maybe duplicate stitching a second one into it, but then that would make this section or this section too short, and I think that would throw it off even more. So I'm not going to do that, but I am going to knit the second sleeve to match. So this is where it's at. This is only one stripe. We're gonna go into the twisted rib and be done with that, and it's just gonna match and be a matching mistake and be happy. I also did quite a bit of work on the back. Golly, a lot more work than I thought. So I just started the twisted rib section here and did a full section here. I'm about to do another set of 2 blue stripes, and then I'm gonna go into ribbing. I have this much left of the second ball. So I want to finish my sleeves and then block it. So I'll put everything on barber cords, which is why I bought that. And block it and check the sleeve length for it, and then I will finish the ribbing and then pick up for the collar because I still have to do that. Here. Oh, my son's moving around. You might be able to hear his monitor, and I apologize. Mom life. So I will have to come back and pick up these stitches, but I want to finish the sleeve first. So, and I may go ahead and do the blue because that may be enough for the stripe in between the blue. But I may have already decided by the time this gets posted, but I don't know if I should do one more, like do the 2 stripes to block it out. I think I want to, looking at it. I don't know. We'll see. And actually, I may block it first and then see if I need more length or less length. And decide there. So these are the Amazon cords that I bought. It's the 2mm size. And it's just a tubing. I don't know if you can really see. Yeah, a little bit. Let's put it there. Kind of, it's quite a bit. I can cut it the length I want. It wasn't super easy to like take it from the needle to the, or take the stitches from my needle onto the cord, but I don't know if like buying barber cords would have been any better. Those are expensive. This was $13. So it was worth trying, but I don't know. I'm kind of cheap on that kind of stuff and figured I would try that first and then see if it was worth spending the money on barber cords or something equivalent meant for knitting, but that works. So long summer cardigan. This is by Ruby and Rose's yarn, or the long summer cardigan is a pattern by Locatelli. I am knitting it out of Ruby and Rose's yarn. Golden Hour is the gold and Twilight is the blue. So yep, that one is done and it is being held in my By the Bay bag. Big bag. My other whip that did not get much love this week because I was focusing on that and one other is the baby blanket for my nephew that is due in March. It is the half and half wrap, and I literally did just a few stripes, repeats. This will become my portable knitting. That is where my hat was, where I have a 30-minute drive to and from work every day, so an hour me and my husband drive together. So I get to knit that hopefully will allow this to get done pretty soon. This is out of Lion Brand Heartland. In Grand Canyon is the tan, and I think it's Redwood. Yeah, Redwood for the red. So that is that. Pretty easy and done. I've already knit a baby blanket for my niece who was born in November. Just like this, just different colors. So it is being held in my Arkansas yarn crawl bag from 2022, previous year. My last whip is something I cast on last week. It is being held in this bag, I think from By the Bay Bag Co. I think this style is discontinued, but I am knitting the Christmas sampler shawl again. I'm kind of test knitting it again because there were a few mistakes that some of the knitters found in it, and I rushed through it to be able to get it done on time, and of course there's going to be mistakes when you rush. So I'm going through it again and finding those mistakes again, taking my time with it. And there have been a few, which happens, but it is going good. I'm knitting this out of the Ruby and Roses yarn Advent from 2022. Again, I may rip this out because I was kind of set on this being a garter marler or some kind of a sweater. And it's so soft. But this is that. I've done a lot of knitting these last 2 weeks, I've realized. Thankfully, that's because my kids are going to sleep fairly early-ish, like 7:30, 8-ish, and then I get to knit till like 9:30, 10. My son is done breastfeeding finally, so that has helped increase my knitting time in the evenings, and I've been listening to an audiobook during that time. So there's this. I am on color 8, I believe, out of 24. It definitely looks better in the intended colorways for it, because the last time I just used scraps and they did not go together at all. I just used what I have. So you can kind of see those bobbles. I'm not a fan of making bobbles. They slow it down. But that is that, and that's all I've been knitting on for the past 2 weeks. Let's see, what's coming up? I'm hoping to finish my long summer cardigan in the next 2 weeks. I am hoping to finish the baby blanket as well. All 3 of these projects I'm working on, I would love to get them finished up, obviously, because you knit to finish projects. But my long summer cardigan is so close, and it's been on the needles since September, so I want to get it done. The baby blanket, I think he's due early March. I think maybe the 8th, the first week in March, somewhere around there. But, I mean, my son came a month early, so he could really come at any time. That's the way babies are and giving birth is. So I need to get a move on that. And then the Christmas sampler shawl, I'm taking my time. She doesn't have a set deadline. It just needs to be correct. But I also got accepted to be a sample knitter for Rachel of ZZ Textiles. And I'm going to be knitting a sample for her. It will be secret. I think it's for her paint and pastel pre-order that's coming out in February. I'll see if I can link her post for that. So I just know that I will be getting yarn. She's dyeing it up next week, so it might ship out towards the end of the week. So if I can get at least one of these projects off the needles until then, it's due April 1st, and it is a sweater, and that's all I'm gonna say. I don't know whether, I know the colorway needs to be a secret, but I don't know if like the project or anything is a secret. But I'm so excited to be sample knitting that. I I think I've talked about it in the past, but I've sample knit for Addy of Ruby and Rose's yarns quite a bit, and I love it. I mean, obviously I love knitting, or I wouldn't be here on YouTube or recording this podcast. And so being able to knit for somebody else that's going to appreciate the product is fantastic. And then I get to get paid with a gift card for her shop, and that helps budgeting, because I still get to buy the beautiful hand-dyed yarn, but I don't have to use my money that I work hard for, which is, I would pay for it either way, but this way I get to just save more. My husband's pretty jealous about that, because his hobby, he doesn't have that kind of opportunity. And hunting. So I'm so excited to be able to get to do that. And then there's a few other projects that I need to get working on that I mention all the time. Of course, that rose cardigan, and then the outline raglan is what I'm going to be knitting for the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. I watched their podcast, Arkansas Yarn Cast, and Lori was knitting the outline raglan and kind of saying, oh yeah, this is for July. I'm like, oh, I should probably get started on that too. It won't take me that long, but it'll be nice to have it done before and not be stressing to get it done before the yarn crawl. Because I know last year a few people like put on their sweaters with the needles hanging from it to be included in the sweater. No, I don't really want to do that. I've got the time to knit it. I just need to prioritize that project. I have the yarn for it. I showed it off in a few podcasts after my DFW acquisitions one. So that may be my next guest on. I'm just pushing the rose cardigan back even more and more. It's a beautiful cabled sweater cardigan, and I want it so bad, but it's knit flat with cables and fading, and I think it's calls for like 4 different colorways to fade, and I've got 3, so I'm gonna have to like fudge the numbers, or at least the like color alternating sequence. And I am shorter. I don't have my wingspans not as long. Maybe my wingspan's fine, but I just need to look at it, because I do sometimes do alterations to the pattern, or modifications, not alterations, to be able to make it fit me, which is the joy of knitting. I get to knit myself a garment that fits. So I think that is all that I have to share with you today. Let me know what you would do about mistakes like I have on my long summer cardigan. I think it'll be fine. It's part of a handmade wardrobe, handmade product. Let's see, what else? Yeah, that's it. So have a great 2 weeks, and I should hope to see you then. Sorry, chicken's flapping around outside, making sure nothing's going to get her. I've got 5 chickens left, and they are 3 years old, so their egg production is low, which is not good right now with egg prices. And the taste of like the cheaper store-bought eggs versus like free range eggs is drastic. Like, ugh. So we are hoping to get more chickens this year after tax season. But have a great 2 weeks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.